and welcome to the channel. My name is St. Pauli. Today we're looking at the Friedman Arredondo, the Jose amp. And if you're here, you probably know a lot more about this than I do. I will try to share as little as I know with you. Now, Jose Arredondo died in 1994. And he was the guy that kind of, I would say not invented, but how do you say this? Probably invented high gain. Everything changed after he took plexis in the 80s in LA and modified them with extra tubes, clipping diodes, master volumes. The plexi wasn't the most gainy amp, and it definitely wasn't a versatile amp in the sense of you could actually run it at lower volumes. If you wanted gain, you had to crank the shit out of it. Now, that's not good for a small club. He gave the rock bands of the 80s their sound. Motley Crue, Roth with Vi, and so many others used his mods to get the gain and make the plexi tameable at different volumes, but still get the gain. The amps that he modded are very coveted, and there are some around, but whoever has one isn't going to give it up. Now, Dave Friedman has been modding Marshalls and doing his own amps in the Marshall style for a long time. And his shop in LA has seen, because he's where these amps were made and played, he has seen, I think, around 70 on his bench. And he has a lot of experience with the mods that Jose did. Because he can't get a Jose modded plexi, and Jose can't mod them anymore, it would be tough for you to get your hands on one. Of course, there are many amps that came after that took the ideas of the extra added gain stage with the tube in the preamp and blah, 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 and master volume and all that, and implemented it. And I'm pretty sure that every Friedman amp from the get-go had Jose ideas in it without calling them Jose ideas, you know? But the high gain amps of today all trace back to what Jose did. It made sense that Marshall themselves would use some of the mods in one of their amps, which was released last year. At Rotterdam, I have one. It's called the 1959 something. It's a modded plexi. It's modded by Marshall. Now, Marshall didn't go all the way. It's a beautiful amp. It is hand-wired. Bang for the buck, you're getting a lot with a standard hand-wired plexi from Marshall, around 2,000 something euro. Now, the modded one costs you over 3,000. And they only did the clipping diodes. And I asked Dave about this. Those were really not very common. It was one of the less common Jose mods. And they really get you more gain, solid state gain, 2 different flavors, at lower volume. And it has a master volume, but it has a pre-EQ master volume, which was also the less used one that Jose did. Now, Dave knows the family, and together with, I think her name is Marisol Arredondo, they said, let's make a tribute amp to Jose that has all the knowledge that Dave has about Jose's mods in it. Not absolutely true to what a plexi is, in the sense of a plexi has the 4 inputs, right? You have to jumper them. So it is a more modern version. It has everything switchable. It is internally jumpered. It has an effects loop, Dave's amazing effects loop, all that stuff. So it is a modern interpretation of Jose's vision for the plexi. That's what this is. In the US, you can only get it directly from Friedman, so you have to go on a list, and you're going to have to wait because these are super, super, super popular. And when they're not limited, but they can only make so and so many a month because Dave promised, that's the deal, the Arredondo family, that he would personally lay his hands on every amp. That doesn't mean he builds every amp himself. It means he definitely checks every amp and he oversees the production. So Dave's hands are definitely involved. And the Arredondo family also gets a cut of the amps. His name is on there, so they should. So that's the story. In the end, it's just rock and roll. High gain, late 80s, rock and roll, all the stuff that we as old farts, you're watching this channel, you're not 18, right? That we grew up with, that we coveted. And when you play this, every note is there. It's ultra precision, while a lot of gain is there. And it's saturated gain, but it's not like EVH kind of 5150-ish kind of gain. It's not, yeah, Eddie had a plexi and Variac and all that stuff. And if you want to go more in that direction, maybe look at the Friedman Plex, where I think sounds were still done with a power amp. Here, because of the master volume and the added gain stage, but with the tube in the preamp, it's a bit of a different flavor. Can you get Eddie-ish kind of stuff? What do I know? I don't. It's just a fun amp. It's not cheap. In Europe, we're talking about 4,000 and up. I think similar in the US. And again, you have to get your hands on it. So we'll go through the controls as much as I know. The manual is a bit short as far as what actually happens when you flip the switches. There are videos that Dave has made and that others have made that go way deep into what actually happens when you flippy switch. I'm not a tech guy. I can't tell you that, and I won't. I'll show you sounds. I recorded a song with it. That's what we do here. So let's go and get some sounds, and we're going to start cleanish here. Here are some product shots. Now, let's go into the song. That's next. It is AI generated. I replaced everything other than the vocals. So the drums, guitars, bass, everything is mine, my parts. Why do I do that? In case you don't know and you haven't followed the channel lately, where we've discussed all that, but apparently I have to repeat myself. This is not a song that gets released anywhere. This is not a song that's supposed to show, look what song I wrote, because I didn't write it. This is a playground for me to take something like this in its natural habitat, 80s rock, and see how it performs. So it's a great day while I produce the song for me to learn the amp, to see how easy it is to get the sounds, very easy, to see how it sings, to just experience the product and learn it so that I can present it to you. That's what the song is. It's not art. It's content for a video that I used as a vehicle to learn the amp. And I had recently made a video for True Fire where I learned some Eddie Van Halen riffs, and I thought, let's do my interpretation of what a Van Halen song could be with this amp. Here we go.
Made you smile and left his mark on it.
Okay, we're going to go into sounds. I can't possibly show you all the sounds because there are a million different variations, possibilities, parameters, and no variables. That's the word. So let's actually start in the back. Why not? That's easier. Well, you plug in your cabs all the way to the left. There is an effects loop, Dave's beautiful effects loop, which of course Plexis didn't have. So that's great. And then you give it power. And there's Jose's face with his signature. I think he would be extremely proud of this amp. So in the front, power is on, standby is on. There's a red light as the Plexi had. So we have an N press and a V press. There's a lot of pressing. So Jose had two different kind of presences. And Dave didn't know which one to use. He liked both. So he put both of them in there. Can I tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? Is there a difference? Yes, there is. We'll try to find out. And then, you know what? You just flippy back and forth and you find out which one you like the most. So it's got two presence switches, two presence controls, but you use either or. So here is the first master volume, which is weird because it's on the left. That's the post EQ master volume, which is active in two of the modes. And that comes after the EQ. Okay? Makes the most sense. First, you shape the sound and then you make it quieter. EQ, we get that on the Plexi, sometimes completely dimed. Here's the pre-EQ master volume. That's the one that Marshall used on theirs. Again, not the most common Jose mod. And that is active when you flippy to the left, right? So then you have the pre-EQ master volume. So you're actually pushing less into the EQ. What is the difference in sound? I don't know. So the gain style switch, that will get you to that. I think this is the most natural and just like the amp used to be. And that is different. What do I know? We'll hear it. I'm thinking one of these is adding one of those clipping diodes because all the Jose mods are in here. It's very likely that this one and maybe even this one has those diodes in it. I'm thinking here, it's likely they're out. But I don't know. Watch Dave's video. Because I didn't build this amp and I don't know about bits and pieces in amps. I just make music. This is your volume 1, so that would be your bright volume. So on a Plexi, you have two volumes, bright and normal. And you can mix them when you jumper the 4 inputs. Here it's jumper, there's only one input. And this is the bright volume, this is the normal volume. When you play a Strat, you know, get this up and nice and round. So you can mix and match. Dave says start right here at 10 and at 0. But that's Dave. What the fuck does he know? Well, everything actually. Plex is the standard Plexi setting, and drive kicks in that extra puppy, which is an extra tube in the preamp, something that Marshall completely didn't do. So they really didn't go all the way. But again, I think they're different amps. And then there's a fat switch, right? Because I have the Marshall and reviewed it, a couple of words about this. Marshall's idea of the modified Plexi was, we'll take a stock hand-wired Plexi, we build it the way that we always build it, then bring it back into the shop and add the mods. Pretty much what Jose would have done. And they added 2 clipping diodes and a pre-EQ master volume. Also, there's a switch to turn the bright cap off. The bright cap, once you turn the gain down. No, wait, is that on the Plexi? I think so. Once you turn the gain down, the low end goes away first and the top end stays. And that's not great for lower gain or lower volume sounds. So by turning the bright cap off, that bright volume becomes a lot more usable, right? So that's what they did. The concept here is different. Dave knows all the mods and he built an amp from scratch that has all the mods in it, but already considered them at conception. Not take a stock Plexi and put the mods in, but make a Plexi with the mods from the get-go. That's what that is. So it's a different approach. And I'm sorry I'm talking this much, but there is a lot of stuff about this. It's the rock and roll gain beast. That's why people came to Jose. They didn't come to him to make a killer clean sound, because the Plexi already had a killer clean sound. You didn't go to Jose to make your Plexi cleaner, which is why I think this always has a bit more edge of breakup, and a bit more drive than the modified by Marshall Plexi. If I want the Plexi cleans, or sparkling, beautiful cleans, I'll probably end up with a Marshall. But the Marshall really doesn't get me up there in terms of the gain, right? So why would you get a Jose Plexi if you were looking for cleans? Doesn't make sense. That's why people didn't go to him. They went to him to add the gain, which is where this shines. As far as the clean goes, here we go. So where are we here? Gonna take this off. Plex. So what we hear here is, I think, that bright cap being the bright cap. On the top end, not a lot more. Oh, the setup. Friedman, Cali. It's a nice sparkly guitar. Aged. It's exactly the right guitar for that amp. Going through my pedal board on the floor, so we can add some things to it if we wanted to, into the Arredondo input. That is going out of the 8 ohm out into the Fryette power station in the back, so that I don't kill my ears, which is then going into this warehouse speakers, 30s, whatever that is, 212 Coffee custom cab. In the effects loop, we have that layer delayer back there, the flashy thing from Ibanez, which I can turn on to have delays in the effects loop once we're having some more gain. It's mic'd with a Sennheiser MD421 compact and a Nuvo N22 from AEA. There's the compact, there's the Nuvo, that's the long thing. And in the room, about a meter away, we have a Nuvo N28 from AEA, which is a stereo ribbon. So those three mics combined should give you the most realistic in the room sound. And here we go. So let's get the normal volume up. You can hear that's just muddy crap, right? But that's how it was designed. You mix them together. But it's a pretty bitey top end there. And of course, I have this Postmaster volume active. We might actually want to get the cleans more clean. Yeah, we are gonna have to actually get volume happening here. Then the amp does its thing, but I'm gonna take the power station down. So it's always pretty bitey. I don't think I would compare that to the Marshall Plexi when it comes to the cleans. But that's not why you're getting that. That's not why you get an error. In the Plexi mode, let's see what a Plexi can do. That's where Dave wants to start, at 10. Okay. think I just kicked in something that gives it more gain. Over here, we have no sound because now it's the pre-EQ master volume. This does nothing anymore, right? Quickly check the difference in presence. One is a bit fatter and a bit wider, as the manual states, and it's pretty much correct. A little bit of a very tiny mid-honkiness at around maybe 800 hertz something comes in on Presence 1, which is nice to know. So, this was all in plexi mode, right? So I'm going to go careful, dial that down, go back in the middle, volume's back. I'm going to go to drive mode. And now that extra tube is in play. But we can hear the bright cap is also in play again because I turned it down. Look at the fat switch. Yeah, we really want that in. I mean, why wouldn't you want it fatter? Oh, by the way, I know zero Motley Crue riffs or Vi or whatever. I mean, I know this. Whatever, I don't know. But we need more gain for that, right? So let's crank that shit up. And now we're where we wanted to be, why everyone went to frickin' Jose for that ultra precise attack and just ultimate 80s fun. No modeler, it's gonna do that shit. It just doesn't. So that's the, I don't know what I'm doing now. It's pretty much the sound was right there, the sound that we needed. That's the normal volume, and let's see. There you can hear the ghosting sound. There's actually a second note in there, which is something Plexis did. I'm going to kick in the layer delayer. Wait. No, it's also there. No. So, let's not do that. Let's go back to this one. I mean, the low end is perfect to not get in the way. The top end will stand in any mix. Like it had Viagra for like a, I don't know words. And now we're back to the pre-master volume, pre-EQ master volume. You don't have to crank that drive all the way up, but I mean, why wouldn't you, right? a different feel. It's a bit chunkier on the pre-EQ master volume. It's a bit more oomphy and less bitey. Still pretty bitey. Way more mids there. That's a bit more scoop. And you know what? We like the mids because, as Dave says in the manuals, this is the knob for the mids. You want to crank that up if you want the guitar to actually be heard in the mix, because that's what the guitar is. So these are all different flavors of the same lollipop, and they're beautiful. I mean, when I recorded the track, it was just an absolute blast to have these sounds. And the attack and everything I did was right there. It's so hard to describe that, how it translates, even at the highest gain. Everything you do without mud, in pure precision, with unbridled rock and roll. Just so much like, I mean... You could even just do that and be happy. And you understand why the guys in the 80s wrote what they wrote when they had these sounds. Because those riffs just jump out. Obviously, we want the gain. I see absolutely, let's go back to Plex here. I see zero reason to use drives with this. That, I kind of think that's almost dumb, but we'll do it anyway. We're in Plex mode here. I don't think that adds anything that the amp can't give you, so the brothers... Yeah, there's no reason really to put a drive in front of this beauty. Now, I am beyond ecstatic that I have this in my arsenal now, because this is the sound that recorded all the albums that I fell in love with when I started playing guitar in 1990. This is a dream amp. It is only really achievable and affordable for a few people. They will make you one whenever you get in line, but it is not cheap. It is where some of the nicest amps on the planet are, price-wise, and it should be. I know many of you will say, well, but the parts, and I can build this for $800. Yeah, no, you can't, because you're not Dave. A product isn't the sum of its parts. Parts are one thing. The building, there's a poodle looking inside. Hey, poodle. the building, the people, their health insurance, their well-being, everything, their vacation time, you pay for that, as you pay with every product. But most certainly, you pay for the experience and the knowledge that went into this. From Dave's knowledge of years of repairing and taking care of these Jose amps. Hey, Noodle, what do you think? It's your color, right? It's your color. Yeah, it's your color. To actually the amazing women who I met who do the Tolex on these things. This is, now it's got noodle slobber on it. This is some of the finest Tolexing in the industry. Did I mention it's got ER34? Do I even need to? No. So you don't pay for the sum of its parts. You pay for Dave and the amazing people behind this product. And if you are an old fart like I am, and you like rock music from the 80s, and you have the disposable income to put yourself on the list, you could also, by the way, buy it in Europe at shops. In Europe, it is not a direct thing. So Thomann, Produktiv, and these shops, they get limited quantities of these, probably sold out all the time. But if you can get your hands on a Friedman Arredondo Jose amp, do it. I do not think you're going to regret it. Also, I don't think that these will go down in value anytime soon. Because what a beast of an amplifier. That's it. I'm out. I'll put links below. Please use them to support the channel. Animals behind me? Okay, animals at the end.
Wanna dive in your ocean.